It was the largest weapon ever built, a machine so massive it needed thousands of soldiers. Generals believed it could destroy entire fortresses, but history would remember it for something very different, one of the most overrated weapons ever created. Meet the Schwerer Gustav, a giant railway cannon built during World War II. The numbers were unbelievable. Weight, over 1,300 tons. Length, longer than a football field. Shell weight, nearly 7 tons per shot. One explosion could destroy reinforced concrete bunkers. On paper, this weapon looked unstoppable. The cannon was built by the industrial giant Krupp. It was ordered by Adolf Hitler. Hitler wanted a weapon capable of smashing the strongest defensive walls in Europe, particularly the powerful French fortifications known as the Maginot Line. The idea was simple. If a fortress cannot be attacked, build a weapon powerful enough to erase it. But building such a machine would create problems nobody expected. Constructing the weapon was a massive engineering challenge. The barrel alone weighed hundreds of tons. The cannon had to be transported in separate pieces. Entire railway systems had to be modified. Engineers spent months preparing the weapon for operation. Thousands of soldiers were assigned just to support it. It wasn't just a weapon. It was an entire military project. And the battlefield doesn't wait for projects. Mobility is everything in war. But the giant cannon had almost none. It could only move on specially prepared railway tracks. Every time the weapon changed position, new rails had to be constructed. That could take days, sometimes weeks. While armies moved quickly across battlefields, the giant gun crawled slowly across the map. In modern warfare, speed decides victory. The weapon finally saw combat during the siege of Sevastopol, one of the most heavily defended cities on the Eastern Front. Soviet fortifications were buried deep underground. Concrete bunkers protected artillery positions. This was exactly the type of target the giant cannon was designed to destroy. When the first shell fired, the explosion shook the entire battlefield. Massive bunkers collapsed. Underground fortifications shattered. For a moment, the weapon seemed unstoppable. But destruction alone doesn't win wars. The weapon fired slowly, very slowly. Preparing each shot required enormous effort. Loading the massive shells took time. Adjusting the weapon took time. And while the giant cannon fired a few shells, entire armies were fighting across the battlefield. War moves fast. This weapon did not. While engineers built giant cannons, another weapon was changing warfare. Airplanes, bombers, could deliver destruction far faster. They could travel hundreds of miles, strike multiple targets, and disappear before enemies could react. Compared to aircraft, the giant railway cannon looked ancient. It was powerful, but painfully slow. Airplanes required far fewer resources. They could hit cities, factories, and military bases. The giant cannon could only attack targets within range, and it required thousands of soldiers to protect it, thousands more to maintain it, and entire rail systems to move it. For the same effort, bombers could destroy far more targets. As the war progressed, Germany began losing territory. Retreating armies had no time to move massive weapons. The giant cannon became more of a burden than an advantage. Eventually the weapon was abandoned and later destroyed to prevent capture. The largest gun ever built simply disappeared. Today the weapon is remembered for its size, its engineering, its terrifying appearance. But historians agree on one thing: it changed almost nothing about the war. It was a technological marvel, but a strategic failure. History teaches a simple lesson. Powerful weapons don't guarantee victory. Strategy does. Speed does. Adaptation does. And sometimes, the biggest weapons ever built become the most overrated ones. Because, in war, size means nothing without purpose.